Here's Braxton Hunter telling us what he really thinks about atheists.
Some people will ask me, a lot of times church people will say, based on Romans chapter 1, which talks about how the suppression of truth, where it says the invisible things of God, his eternal power and divine nature, are clearly seen through what has been made, in other words, nature and creation, so that they are without excuse. Now, who's the they that are without excuse? Well, in Paul's case, he was talking about idolaters. But it works for atheism too. I do believe that people that don't believe in the one true God are suppressing the truth or have suppressed the truth.
So many things to say. To start with, I think it's worth pointing out that there's nothing about Christianity itself that necessitates applying Paul's words as widely as Braxton wants to here. And there are potentially huge problems with doing so. Besides that, though, some of this just boils down to, look at the trees. And I doubt that Braxton would disagree, since he appears to embrace it. But frankly, this seems equivalent to someone saying, look at the surface of the Earth, in order to try and convince people that it's flat. Given what we know both about our planet and how life came to be, such appeals to common sense perception ring hollow. But let's keep going.
Willful disbelief is still disbelief. And we humans are good at lying to ourselves, aren't we? And we can convince ourselves of things. And so if I run into someone who was once claiming to be a Christian and now they claim to be an atheist and perhaps they've become an atheist popularizer.
Gasp.
Such a person is probably telling you the truth. They don't believe in God. It doesn't mean God didn't reveal it to them, and it doesn't mean they didn't suppress the truth, but they have come to believe the lie, basically, is what I'm saying. So, and I hope that's not personally offensive to any skeptics or atheists that may hear this.
So he hopes these talking points aren't offensive to skeptics or atheists who hear them. Well, let's invent a parody scenario and see if we can not offend evangelicals, shall we? Suppose I go up to a random believer, like, say, Braxton Hunter, and accuse him of suppressing his latent homosexuality. Sure, he's telling me the truth when he says he doesn't believe he's gay, but ultimately nothing he says about his inner psychology will convince me that he isn't suppressing his erotic desires for Jonathan Pritchett. Now, I'm obviously having a bit of fun here, as some people really do harmfully repress themselves in this way, and I don't necessarily think that Braxton is one of them. But the point is, when you have unfalsifiable beliefs about the inner psychology of other people, silliness can ensue. For example, we could literally line up every atheist who has ever lived in front of Braxton, all claiming that they're not suppressing knowledge that God exists. And guess what? He would still think it's more likely that all of those atheists are deceived in some sense than that a relatively small group of people were wrong about a guy coming back to life and floating into the sky. Given that, Braxton, if I had to choose between one of us being in denial, my money's on you.
If you took away all the arguments, by which I mean external evidences, things that somebody has to tell me in a reason, a learn, and all that, those kind of things, well, that'd be one thing. But I still think I have internal evidence. I think I still have internal reason to believe because I think I have sort of an innate awareness of God's presence in my life. And we humans are good at lying to ourselves, aren't we? And we can convince ourselves of things.